Hey everyone, Beardy here, and welcome to this week's Bearded Blog, which we will be talking about musicians. So let's cue the intro. Now, this is going to be a subject I will revisit a fair few times because being a musician myself, I think there's a lot of key things that I feel that need to be said to open up a nice conversation. And speaking as a musician, I'm going to also be very careful about what I'm going to say. So, I was talking to my head chef the other day, and he kind of brought up a really kind of good point. There's a lot of music out there these days that are created by people who aren't musicians. So, they've never played an instrument, they don't know how to mix or master recordings, they don't know the difference between like a 4/4 timing and a 6/4 timing. Now I've known subconsciously that these people have been out there, but it hasn't really hit home until Head Chef said what he said. And I've had to listen to what these people create. But fuck, it is shit. I don't know if you guys have listened to this stuff. It's not good, and it's not because of the genre they pick to do. When I think most of these people who are doing this tend to pick like electronic music to do. It's not the genre that makes it shit. It's the fact that it is shit because these people don't know what they're doing. There's no structure to the music. It's like when a few people get together to start a band. Well, just started playing their instruments, they're new to the whole thing, and they don't really know what they're doing. However, in a band situation, you're always going to grow and you're always going to learn together, especially when you're playing actual musical instruments. And now, while these people probably are learning what to do and how to do it, are they actually learning? Now, I know they are learning because, whenever you do something often enough, you do pick up things and you start understanding things better. But that's not necessarily means that their music gets any better. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're actually going to use what they're learning to help their music. And on top of it all, it doesn't mean their music's going to sell. And being in a band, making music myself, I know I kind of have to face these problems as well. And I know my music isn't everyone's cup of tea. And as much as these guys aren't my cup of tea, people who I know who like that kind of music don't like these artists' songs because that's how bad they are. They're so bad that the people who they aim this music at, who like this genre, don't like their music. Now, I've not talked to everybody, obviously. I've not heard the entire extensive list of these people in this genre, or who do it. So I can't make a full instinctive judgment on it, because there might be some music that people make that is actually really good, and I might like, but I don't know where to find it. But I've heard enough to make an understand, or have an understanding at least of what it is. And for me, I think the most important thing against me is I spent the last 11 years of my life being a musician, learning how to play music. I went to college, I learned how to use recording software, or the basics anyways, of mixing and mastering. I have played in several bands, and I get the fun of playing in a band. There's a lot of fun you get in that. And these people are not going to know that. These people aren't going to understand the situation. And I don't think I would get so riled up if it was just in the unsigned, underground kind of movement area. But because I know this happens right at the top with some of the biggest record labels and companies and the biggest music that's being pushed out there onto radio, yeah, I'm gonna get worked up. Now, for those who don't know what I'm saying in that situation, or getting a little bit confused, I can understand. It's kind of a confusing subject to be talking about. Now, while big names in the music don't advertise it because, well, why would they? If you listen hard enough and have a good enough ear, you're going to hear it. It's kind of reversed at the top to how it is at the bottom. While at the bottom, as I've kind of said, it's people who aren't musicians trying to make the music. The top is musicians who make the music, but they're not the musicians who not necessarily go and record it, but they're not the ones whose name it's tied to. They're not the ones going to selling out concerts and gigs for this kind of stuff. And the ones who are making music, they're sitting around in a boardroom brainstorming over these ideas of how to make music, how to make a hit song for someone else to go off and sing, or for someone else to go off and play. Now, of course, these guys are going to be taking a cut of the money that's going to be made out of it, but it's destroying a real musician's work. So, getting back to the point of it all, and I think the biggest fact I can point out with this is the main difference between someone who is a musician, someone who claims to be without actually knowing what they're doing. And it is that simple in the full spectrum of comparison. Not all musicians know how to write. I didn't when I first started, but I learned. As I went along, I learned how to do so. And musicians who will want to write music will learn how to write music. These people who claim to be making music, whether that's in their basement or a pop star who can't sing without autotune, yes, I will be doing a whole wonderful video on autotune and why we need to get rid of it. You can't call them musicians, because they're not. I know musician is generally a term used as like a self-title. You kind of give it yourself when you become one. But you still have to become a musician to kind of be able to call yourself one of them. It's kind of like, it's almost like give and take. You can't take the name without being one in return, kind of thing. And these people who call themselves musicians just because they're making music through a computer, not even recording, not even actually recording the music they're making, they're putting in the notes bit at a time. How can you call that being a musician? Yeah, you're making music, but it hurts my head thinking how these people are actually ruining the side of what being a musician is about. Hell, even DJs who either create their music live on the big stage, or DJs who actually know how to work music. Hell, even I can dignify by calling them a musician, because at least they're doing something for the music effort. These people who are making their own music without knowing how to make music makes me a bit of a shame to call myself a musician. Now, I know every group of people always has its bad eggs. They all do. You can't blame an entire group of people just because of actions of a few. And while on one side these people make me angry about being a musician and about being proud and hateful about the fact that I'm proud, let's stop being tongue-tied, proud for that fact, I have to remember that they're the reason why I became a musician and the people who inspired me to be a musician. People who made me think, yeah, I can do this, I'm going to be a musician. And while I'm sure I'm never going to fill the freaking audience out at the O2 Arena playing freaking my band's hit song, probably never gonna happen with me, but I have hopes. I go to gigs. I've played gigs. I've had people cheering out to the music I've made. I've written with my bandmates. When it comes down to that, it's just, what do you do there? So, I'd like to know what your guys' thoughts are on this. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Do you think these people should be given a musician title and deserve a bit more respect? Please, this is an open conversation I want to have with everybody, and I want you all to put your input on it. Links to my social media will be in the bio below. As always, please like and subscribe. And until next time, guys, beauty.